So yeah, welcome to creating a birthday card with Canva. Over the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to look at Canva and how to use it to make a birthday card. Although my hope for everyone watching this now or later is that they'll see how useful the tool it is for all sorts of projects, not just birthday cards, but graphic design broadly. So jumping right in, here's an overview of what we're covering tonight. So we'll look at what Canva is, what it is as a tool, what you can do with it. We'll take a tour of Canva. We will walk through the steps of creating a birthday card design, and we'll touch on saving and printing because some of that stuff can be a little specific. And then at the end, we'll have time for questions if there's anything we haven't covered yet and you'd like to know about it. So before diving in completely, I did just want to tell you a little bit about me and why I'm leading this workshop tonight. So my name is Wes Harbison. I am a public technology assistant in creative experience at the St. Louis Public Library. Creative experience is what we call the library's digital makerspace. So it's a place where patrons like yourself can come to work on all sorts of creative projects, including graphic design like we're doing tonight, but all sorts of things: music, video, illustration, video game development. And I've been working at the library for about 5 years, since 2015, and I've been specifically in creative experience for, oh gosh, Mary might have to remind me, at least a year.
A little, gosh, year and a half? Does that
year and a half?
right?
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of flying by, but yeah, so I don't do graphic design work professionally, but I studied it for my undergraduate degree before ultimately deciding to go into libraries. So I do have a background in it. Hopefully that makes me qualified to help you through things tonight. Okay, so generally not good form to read right off of a slide, but I am going to do it just for this one. So Canva, as you probably already know, Cheryl, is a web-based graphic design tool. Using its drag and drop interface, users can create social media images, flyers, brochures, cards, and a whole lot more. And that sounds a little vague, but we'll tour Canva in just a minute and you'll see everything that it's capable of, or at least get a basic sense of it. So Canva is free to use at the basic level. And because the library isn't holding in-person workshops right now, we're trying to highlight tools related to creative experience that people can use at home and for free. So Canva is just that. It relates to what we do here, but you don't have to purchase software, you don't have to install anything. It's just a website you go to. To use Canva to its fullest, you do need to create an account. Doing so requires an email address. Most people have those, but not everyone does, so it bears mentioning. And one thing I want to touch on here, this third item here, is that though the basic account is free, there are these paid upgrades, and you've probably noticed these if you've used it. Personally, I never use them. There's tons of great content in there to use already that's free, but Canva will push these on you, and it can get a little annoying at times, but I have found that the more you use it, the easier it is to ignore those things, and I'll point out their little tricks along the way so that we can just kind of breeze past that. So with that, we will jump in for the tour. So let me switch over here. And all right, and now we should be seeing the homepage for Canva. Is that what you're seeing? Okay, great. So this is what you see when you first pull up Canva, canva.com. Now it's kind of funny, this has changed even from yesterday when Mary and I did a run through of this presentation. They had a whole different homepage if you weren't signed in and you just went to canva.com, and now it looks more like what you see when you are signed in. So that's probably a point to mention, which is that Canva changes things all the time. you know, usually I'd say that's a good thing. I think occasionally it can be a headache if they move things around, but for the most part, I would say it's improving in my experience. But yeah, so this is what you'll see on the homepage. And we'll kind of come back to mention this after I log in. And you actually can use Canva more and more without an account. So if I jump into a list of templates here, and I'm just gonna, I don't even know what I clicked on. we'll just open up this one real quick. They'll give you a little preview of it. And a few weeks ago, when I first practiced for this presentation, if I clicked use this template right here, they would say, hang on, you have to sign up. They don't anymore. They'll actually let you in. You can make your edits, change what you need, and then download your finished version, or your finished product rather. But there are a few features that you don't get if you're not signed in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my account that I already have created. And let's see. So yeah, they're just changing it all the time. There used to be this bar on the side. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. Okay, I just had to go back to the homepage. My mistake. So you'll see this part in the middle here on your homepage when you're logged in. Basically looks like what we saw when we were logged out. The main difference being that I have a section called Your Designs, which is designs that I've made. And then you have these options on the side. So I want to touch on some of these. We won't go through everything. So let's see. All right, so there's all your designs. So once you've started working with Canva, this is where everything will be saved. It'll just gather up all of your projects, and you can see things I've created for the library here. So this is a really easy place to get to your work. I imagine if you've used it a lot more than I have, this list can just go on and on and on. I only have so many, but it's nice to know that you can find everything right here, including the presentation we've been looking at and an Instagram ad I made for this workshop. Similar to this, which can be a little confusing at first, but you have this button called All Your Folders. Within that is all your designs, but you have other things as well. So you've got your likes if you've liked certain bits of content or templates. If you've purchased things, that all gets collected here. If you're working as a part of a team, you know, if you and someone else are collaborating on a design, that might be in your shared with you folder. We have an uploads folder, which I'll say more about in a minute. And then your trash, which is important because if you ever accidentally delete something, then you know where to look for it first. I do it all the time, so it is handy to have. So that uploads folder, there's actually another button right over here on the side. They're making it easy for you to find. Canva has tons of free content on it, stock photography, you know, illustrations, all sorts of stuff. But if you want to use your own custom stuff, like I have the library logo in here, a couple of versions of it, this is where it all goes. And you can use this upload button, add what you need. Yeah, I've got photos of the library I've used for different ads and things. So it all gets collected right here. It's just good to know where it all is. It's you know, different than when you're on your computer and your files could be anywhere. Here, Canva makes it very simple. So real quick, I'm going to just open up the workspace so we can take a look. So this is the Instagram ad for this workshop. And I'm just going to give a quick overview, and then we'll jump back out to the presentation for a moment. So right here in the middle, I've got my finished design. All my text, all my illustrations, everything, it's right there. Over here on the left, we have tools like we did kind of back out on the homepage once you're logged in. It's a different set of tools though. So we have our templates here. Say I opened one template, decided I didn't like it, and I wanted to find another Instagram template. It's all right here. You can search. This is stuff you can do whether you're inside or outside of editing a document. So that makes it really handy to change. Uploads, it's another place just to find what we saw earlier. So those logos and things that you want to use that are custom for your project. Photos would be the stock photography that Canva provides. Now you can actually see right here, here's this little crown saying that this is a pro object or element photo. So they would charge you if you try to use this one, but as you hover over these other ones, you'll see that they say free in the corner. Lots of good stock photography on here. I feel like even when I was in undergrad studying graphic design, we could not find stock photography that was nearly as good as this. So it's great that there's so much of it, and most of it is free. Elements are going to be things like illustrations, lines, shapes, frames, stickers, charts. I'm just kind of reading off the screen now, but you get the sense. It's more of the like, as opposed to photos, it's more of the graphic kind of content that you'd want to include. So my elements out here on my design would be these kind of blobby shapes and lines off to the side. Text, pretty straightforward. You got different sizes right here. Once you pull those in, you can always change the size, change the font, the color, whatever you need. It's kind of nice though, similar to how they have tons of templates in Canva. They have all these different sort of pre-designed little text blocks. So, you know, if there's something kind of a mood or tone you're trying to capture, they've done a lot of work for you. And I think that's one of the really nice things about Canva. Graphic design can take a lot of time. And on the back end, Canva, the staff there have spent tons of time creating all these templates for all sorts of projects, you know, hundreds, probably thousands of templates. And text in particular, I did a lot of text projects when I was in school, and they are tedious. They're interesting, but they're tedious. So it's just really nice that you could just click on this and it just pulls in kind of a whole text block for you. I know it's really cluttered now, but we'll just take that out of there. So yeah, and I think most of these are free as well. Music and video are not going to apply tonight, but you can technically export video from Canva. I've done it once for an Instagram story post that we did for another workshop at the library. I used more of like an animated element rather than a video, but I think that's great. If stock photography is difficult to come by, stock video is even harder, and it's great that they have it here. We're almost done here with this introduction. Backgrounds, pretty straightforward. It's just going to be images, textures, colors that show up on the sort of the bottom layer of your design. So anything you click in here just goes straight to the back, which is handy. So you don't have to manually send it behind all your text. And then folders, it's more of what we've seen before. It's just another way to access your stuff. So with that, I'm going to jump back in to my presentation for a split second here. All right, so if I did that right, we're seeing the Canva pricing and upgrades slide. Okay, good. So yeah, I've already touched on this, and it looks, by the way you've nodded, I'm guessing you're familiar with this. Yeah, so they leave a lot of Canva's paid content kind of sprinkled in with all the free stuff, and you know, they're going to prompt you to upgrade and pay kind of left and right if you're not careful. But basically, the trick is to look for that crown. Anytime you see that crown anywhere across Canva, or the word upgrade or pro, that's when they're going to charge you. We might run into it later, but there actually is one spot I've seen, and I'm forgetting where it is, but you'll see some things that say free and then some things that are unlabeled, and the unlabeled ones are the ones that they want you to pay for. So I don't know if that's just a quirk in the system or another trick, but you know, it's just something to watch out for. And like I said, you will, it's easier to avoid the more you spend time with it. So with that, we can jump into creating a design. Cheryl, I had it in my notes to pause for questions here. It's just you. If you have any at this point, you're welcome to chime in. I'll take a drink of water. Yeah.
Sure. Not a question so much as a comment, and you might be getting to uploads later, but you know, for some of the content that might be paid content, if you have your own picture and don't need a stock picture, you can upload it really easily.
Yes, yeah. You can collect stock photos from your own sources, or even bring in your own photography, put that all in uploads, and then you don't even have to mess with their collection. You don't have to risk dropping in a paid photo only to realize later that they want you to pay for it. So
Right.
yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. All right. So then we will jump back over to Canva. And let me close this one out. So I've lost my notes. Give me just a second here. Okay, right. So we're going to approach designing a birthday card two ways. One, first, I guess I'll say first, it's going to be working from a template, and then we'll do it from scratch. Just two ways to get at the same project. Let's see. I'll just dive in. So we're on our homepage here. You've got your big search bar right in the middle, and I'm just going to type in birthday card, and I'm going to try and spell it right. Oh, I did it wrong twice. 3 times. Birthday card. There we go. Not used to this keyboard, I guess. So yeah, you'll see they try and make everything really easy for you. They even got a birthday card suggested down here. They tell you the size 7x5, which I think is pretty standard. So we'll just click on that, and this will pull up all of their birthday card templates. They do have a blank option here, but we're going to come back to that when we build one up from scratch. But yeah, if you've ever dug through here, you know that these can just go on and on and on. Like I said, hundreds, if not thousands of templates are built into the system. Now I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick this, have a sweet birthday. Let's say, oh, I like that. I like that text. I might see something that I want to change, but I kind of like how it's set up, right? So I just clicked on that, it opened up, it's ready for me to edit. We can see right away that there are multiple elements that have watermarks on them. So those are those paid elements. They throw them into templates too. It's just something that happens. So sometimes you find a really good template, you open it up, and then they want you to pay for everything. So anytime you see that watermark, you can just delete that stuff. So I know because I've opened this one before that even these two little squiggly lines have watermarks on them. so that kind of leaves us at the bare bones of what this template was, but that's all right. We're still going to dig around and find something we like here. So what I'll do, I think, is start by applying a new background. We lost all of our elements there, but let's maybe find something we can just apply to the whole space. So it's really easy just to oh, here's what I was talking about before. This one doesn't say anything. This one says free. That one they have watermarks on. So it's very easy just to click through these though and try and find one you like. And I'm trying to remember which one I liked from the other day when I did this. Have a sweet birthday. Sure, we've got some good contrast with that photo. Maybe the person's birthday is near Christmas, and that's why we've got Christmas lights at the bottom there. So yeah, let's say that works for us. So we've got our background. Now we've already got our text, so we probably don't need to add anything in from the text panel over here on the left. But let's say we want to change some of what we have out here. So when we click on an item in our workspace, right up here, kind of in the white bar above, we get a lot more options, and there's even more tucked away under this dotted or these dots here. So let's say, for instance, I just want to change the word cake. Maybe the person whose birthday it is doesn't like cake. They like pie. We'll say given to that pie. Sure, it's an easy change. And let's say maybe now that we've got this new background in here, we kind of want to rearrange our elements, right? So it's all drag and drop. But when I'm dragging things around, we see these purple lines and these guide us along. They're in Adobe software like Adobe Photoshop and InDesign. They call these smart guides. So it's just a way that Canva is saying, hey, this lines up here, or you might want to keep this inside of the margin, which is what this larger kind of purple box is. But we can follow them, or we don't have to. Usually I found that they're pretty good recommendations. But yeah, so we're just moving things around here, maybe giving a little more space to those lights on the bottom. And gosh, I don't know, what else would we want to do? Maybe we want to bring this up top, slide that back down, and you can see how it's keeping things in line for me. To change the alignment of the text, you've got that button up here. A lot of this is very similar to what you'd see in Microsoft Word or any kind of text editor like that. So you just click around through here until you find the right one. And then maybe that's changed the balance a little bit. Maybe we want to drag both of these over here or something. I'm not promising we're going to end up with something pretty this evening, but hopefully we'll get a sense of just how all the tools work. And when you have these things selected, you can rotate them, you can resize them. A lot of software, if you drag from the corner, it'll actually kind of warp your image, but Canva, again, is making things easy on you. They're doing what is called constraining the proportions. So it all stays exactly the same as it should be, just larger or smaller, rather than, tall and skinny on accident, something like that. So yeah, that's kind of nice. And then let's maybe add in one more element, maybe one more line or something, or maybe let's say they kind of look like lights or stars. So we'll just do stars and see what they have. So those all look a little too literal for me. I want something a little more doodly, a little more. Yeah, maybe let's try that. Let's see how that looks. Drag those off to the side here. That red's a little strong. So when that's selected, we get our options up top, crop, flip, and then this box of red is where we get to change our colors. So they have a whole bunch of colors in here. They even do smart things like they will detect the color of the colors within the photo that you've used. So if you want to, sort of fit into the color scheme of the photo, they're making that easy on you. And if you want a custom color, it's that new color button right there. And with this color selector, you can really get anything you need. So because of the way the "Have a Sweet Birthday" text is, we probably want something lighter, nothing that's going to overpower it. So we'll give it that kind of light purple and call it good. So yeah, maybe we're satisfied with that, right? Now, okay, so we'll say that we're done with this one. You'll see that this card is a single page, right? We're just seeing kind of one image here, presumably just a front. So when I think about birthday cards, I think of, the ones that fold open. They've got the front and the back, the inside. So this is something that I actually had to dig around a little bit to uncover. But in Canva, if you just type in birthday card, we see that flat image. And if we were to print this off, we'd end up with more of like a postcard, right? Just a flat piece of paper with a front and a back, which could be fine if that's what you're going for. You write your message on the back. But to find a folded card, I'm going to jump back out here. And I'm going to type in the words, literally, folded card. I don't know why these don't come up when you type in birthday card as well. So I just had to dig around to find these. But once we know what to search for, folded card, landscape, portrait, I'm going to go ahead and make a portrait one. And this is where we're going to build one up from scratch. So they do have templates here too, and you'll see they look a little different. They do have that kind of front and back going on. But we're going to open up the blank one here and start from scratch. And you'll see right away, it's a bit of a different shape. You've got this line in the middle. So, so we know what we're working with. And the front of our card, because of how it folds, will be on the right-hand side here. So let's build it up again. So yeah, it's kind of a similar process. We just we pick a background and then add in our text and our elements and all that. So gosh, what would work here? Nope, not that one. Let's click around. That's a little too busy for a birthday card. I think I used one the other day that I liked. Where did that go? So these are my resets here. They even keep track of what I used recently. Is this what it was? I can't remember. Oh, I remember now. I just used a solid color. I ended up really liking that. So yeah, when you're on your background here, they do list these more texture centered backgrounds. But if you ever just want a solid color, they're right up here at the top. Same rules apply. They've got a bunch of defaults in here that I'm sure would work well. I'm gonna go with something just a little lighter, a little more subtle. So that's what I'm feeling right now. So we'll give it this kind of light yellow. And from there, let's add some text. So we know we want to say happy birthday. So your heading is going to be the place to start. This is kind of just your default heading text and text size. Like I said, we can change that all up here. Much like stock photography and videos, fonts and typefaces, especially nicely designed ones, are harder to come by. But Canva, again, is very nice to us, and they upload tons. This is another list that will just go on and on and on. We're only in the A's, and I feel like I've been scrolling forever already. Okay, we hit the B's. You will see they're the crowns again. So, you know, there's some that you just have to pay to use, but there's lots of good stuff that is available for free. And these are some I've used recently. And yeah, I like this one. It's kind of bigger, bolder, serif font. So we'll just kind of resize that. Maybe we want to break it onto 2 lines. And maybe we want to change the color. So we'll do that as well. Pull something. Oh, I don't know. It's really just a matter of clicking around, as I'm sure you know. Okay, so we'll say I'm happy with that. Now what I could have done is pulled something from out of here. You know, maybe this Just Breathe one, and then I change it to happy birthday, and that would look really nice. But I've already done my text, so we'll stick with what we have. I'm gonna find an element, something I like. Now the stickers are animated, so we'll wanna stay away from that because that won't make sense for a printed document. But the featured ones here are usually pretty good, and it's new. They do a great job at Canva of kind of staying on top of design trends. So if you're wanting something that looks very contemporary, featured's a good place to look. So what might fit our birthday card here? A little candle maybe, could be. The beauty is, you know, I could just really pick any of this, and you know, it wouldn't, I can just pull in as many as I want, really, right? So you can see I've got my pick here. You know, maybe this person's a photographer, and so we're putting that on the front of the card. I'm gonna get rid of that one though. Candle again, maybe we want to leave that illustration on the back. This one, I can see that that's for the pandemic world that we live in right now. Everybody's talking on Zoom, but we'll get rid of that one too. And let's maybe go with this nice little window here. So maybe this is someone who has a nice view out of their apartment, and you're familiar with that. So that's what this design is referencing. So happy birthday's feeling a little heavy to me. So let's take that down in size. That's all on top here. Way too small. And yep. So, so I've shown you dragging elements around. You can also highlight multiple elements and drag them around all together, which is handy. It just helps you work faster. So that's what I did there. And if I remember right, they even have, yes, so in our extra options here under the 3 dots. I have this position button. This is really handy. I use this all the time. So you can arrange things in layers in here. But when you have multiple elements selected, you can arrange them. You can like center them vertically or horizontally, or align them with the top or the bottom, left or right. Middle here, well, okay, I actually did make things harder on myself. I'll undo that. So that was Control Z to undo. So yeah, you know, like maybe this isn't the best example, but these guides are handy. But if they're not working for you, you could click on your object, go into position, and then say, oh, I want this to be more centered, more in the middle, along the bottom, on the right, whatever it is. So that's a handy tool. So yeah, I don't know, not the most flashy card in the world, but we've got something basic going on. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to leave this candle here on the back, and I'll move on to saving and printing. So saving, we'll start there. So Canva, like I've mentioned in other places in this presentation, does a lot of work for you on the back end to make things easy and fast. It's no different with saving. In a lot of software, you're probably used to going to File and Save. You can do that here in Canva, but you can see in gray it says All Changes Saved right behind there. They have a save button. You can click it if you want to, but I don't think it does anything because it is constantly saving your work. So if your internet cuts out, your computer crashes, as long as you have that Canva account and you're logged in, it is all saved to give you some peace of mind. Now, if we want to download this, if we want to save it to our computer, flash drive, whatever, we can go to File, Download. But there's 2 more ways to get there. They want it to be easy for you. So File, Download is one. Number 2 is this down arrow, kind of up here, and yep, in the upper right. So if you click on that, it gives you your download options. You can even jump into this these dots here for more options. And this is another thing they've changed. It didn't look like this yesterday. They've redesigned it, but still we have that download button right here for these options to download. So before I talk about what format to use for downloading, I'll talk about the print option. So this is the final place where they're going to try and get you to pay for something. So if I hit print folded cards, what they're going to do is show me, oh, here's a nice preview of what it would look like as a card. Now our inside is white because we didn't design the interior, but we could have added a page at the bottom and gone in and put an illustration on the inside too. But yeah, you'll see here your subtotal is $88. Their default is that they think you're ordering 50 copies of this. And envelopes for each. So, you know, if you're a designer and you are using Canva to create birthday cards that you're going to sell, and you do the math and the math comes out in your favor, this is probably a great service. I've personally never used it, but you know, when you can do it all in one place, that can be really convenient. It is not what we're doing tonight. So I'm going to close this and we will go back into download. So we're in download here, excuse me. We're in download, we have our file type options, and we have a number of options here. These bottom 2 we won't mess with at all. It's videos and animated GIFs, doesn't apply to us. This SVG, there's that crown again. We don't have access to it, but it's a vector file. We don't need to worry about that anyway. So we have these top 4, right? Now if we think back to that first birthday card we made, the one that was the little postcard size, you could design that and then upload that to Instagram or Facebook, send it in an email. A PNG or a JPEG would be a good file choice if that's your end goal. If you do want to print it, which you would probably do with a folded card, they have this PDF print option, which they, again, make it easy. They suggest it. It's already selected when you open up download, and that's what we're going to use. And they have this option here for crop marks and bleed. Are you familiar with what? Okay, you're familiar with those. Okay, I'll just breeze over it real quick for the recording then. So crop marks are going to be these little kind of hatch marks in your 4 corners of your document, and they will denote where you cut cut down your document to size. What bleed refers to then is the color of your document bleeding off past those lines where you cut. So it's what you use to not have that white border that your printer gives you for just to print it out straight. So I'll hit download. It'll do its thing. You can close out this little window here, and then we will open it up. And there you can see our crop marks and our bleed. And we lose that line in the middle, but that's okay. We know we just fold it in half, so everything is fine. So that is the demo. We'll definitely have time for questions. I'm feeling worried that you knew all this already. No, okay, all right. So I'm gonna jump back into my presentation real quick just to summarize some of that saving and printing stuff. So if I can find it, there it is. Cool. So yeah, just a summary of saving and printing. So Canva saves automatically, they make it easy, but you need to download it if you want to copy on your computer. Several formats, not all are ideal for every project and not all are free. If you are printing, PDF print is the way to go. And I recommend for people to turn on the crop marks and the bleed if you don't want that white border around your card. And then I guess one other note to add here is just to think about what kind of paper you're using for projects like these. Yeah, so a lot of birthday cards are going to be that kind of thicker, nicer paper, maybe a cardstock or something similar. So you can print it out on standard copier paper, but it'll feel a little flimsy compared to what you're probably used to seeing in the stores. A good plug for the library here is that we do have copiers and they have bypass trays on them. So if you have your own cardstock, you can bring that in, print these cards here at the library for free using your print credit. So, oh, right, one last thing before you get to questions. If you're interested in learning more, I will send out the PDF of these slides. These three things are links, so you can just go straight to these pages. Canva has a lot of resources built in for learning how to use their services, as well as just kind of graphic design fundamentals. Good free content. And then Linda is a resource we offer through the library. It's video tutorials, really high quality. This is a Canva tutorial from 2019. Like I mentioned, things change even from yesterday when I used it. So I can't promise that it's perfectly up to date, but the stuff that they do at Linda is really high quality and it's good information. So if you ever want to dive in, I think that one's about an hour long and they'll pretty much help you master it. So, and I believe that's my last slide. So yeah, any questions?
Great. I do have one.
Sure.
At least. So the template card that you did, the happy birthday or whatever that happy birthday statement was.
Yeah.
Sorry, dog.
It's okay.
The font was in different colors.
Yeah.
Was that something that they had to type in different letters and then they were able to move them all together? I think that there's probably a lot more options than there are in here than the last time I used it. But
okay.
In getting multiple colors in a block of font.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let me pull up that window again. So I'll go back to all my designs and I'll just pull that one up. Oh, did it not save it? Here I am saying it automatically saves everything and I lose my example. Okay, well, there it goes. Okay, I just needed to refresh the page. Yeah, so that Have a Sweet Birthday. Yeah, it's in multiple colors. So I believe what they did there, that's probably one of their like text blocks that comes out of their text palette over here. But what you can do is literally just highlight every letter individually and change those colors. And you can see up here when I do that, the color changes when I get to each letter. So that's probably what they did.
Yeah, I feel like the last time I played with this, which was a while ago, that
Mhm.
if you tried to change one thing in a block like that, it would change everything.
It was like all or nothing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's I think it's really impressive how detailed or nuanced, I guess, that it's gotten over the years. Um, I feel like I used to kind of swear off programs like these online just because they couldn't quite do enough for what I needed. But more and more, they're really kind of pulling it off, you know?
yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, cool. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I think I'll turn it back over to Mary in case there's anything here at the end.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much for joining us. I'll send out the email with the slides from Wes and a survey for our program.
Sounds great. Thank you both. Have a great
Yeah.
night.
Thank you so much. You too.
Bye.